You cannot be an introvert. You have no problems talking with us. This is a sentence I often hear when my mother is talking about her coworkers. Oftentimes, she has come home and complained about how she is not given the same courtesy that her fellow coworkers of a more introverted nature are given due to the fact that she's perceived as an extrovert. And with the pandemic causing her to have to work from home, I have witnessed firsthand her daily struggle of being an introvert in a more extroverted workplace. And as an introverted-leaning ambivert myself, who started out life with a more extroverted-leaning personality, I started to understand the differences of being more extroverted and more introverted, and found that understanding both introverts and extroverts can help with improving in communication, which allows us to connect on a more personal level. By looking at what it truly means to be an introvert and an extrovert, we will gain a deeper understanding of others, and that will allow us to improve our communication with others. In order to better understand the importance of the distinction between an introvert and an extrovert, we must first define what it means to be an introvert and extrovert and dispel common misconceptions between the two. So, what is an introvert? What is an extrovert? The American Psychological Association defines an introvert as orientation toward the internal private world, self and one's inner thoughts and feelings, rather than toward the outer world of people and things. I myself interpret this to mean that an introvert is someone who gets their energy internally. They feel best when they are alone, and they are most energized when they are by themselves. Now, this does not mean that all introverts are loners and that they are reclusive. It just means that when their social battery per se is drained, they need to take some time for themselves in order to recharge. Now, an extrovert, on the other hand, is defined as an orientation of one's interests and energies towards the outer world of people and things rather than the inner world of subjective experience. I interpret this as meaning that an extrovert gets their energy from being around people and places, and it is said that extroverts tend to work best in groups. Now, this is not to say that all extroverts are outspoken and outgoing. It just means that they are more naturally inclined to being in group settings and kind of being in that leadership role. Now, you may have noticed I did not describe myself as either an extrovert or an introvert. I describe myself as an ambivert that leans more towards an introverted personality. That is because this is more like a spectrum. It is not either or. Most people are considered to be ambiverts in the world, leaning more across the middle of the spectrum, with some extroverted traits and some introverted traits. Now, why is this important? For myself, I found that my more introverted personality traits come out when it comes to being amongst a group. I find that I can hang out with people and I enjoy it, but I need time alone to recharge. And it's not to say that I don't want to hang out with people. It's just to say that I prefer to be alone because I feel most happy and most energized alone. And I find that knowing the differences between introverts and extroverts can help you to understand someone's personality and behavior more. It is easier to understand why someone may be declining your invitation to go out with them if you understood that they had a more introverted personality, and therefore you're able to understand that maybe that place that you're suggesting to go or what you're suggesting to do is out of their comfort zone. It makes them feel very uncomfortable. By knowing that this person has a more introverted personality, you are able to change how you would approach the situation. You wouldn't suggest going to a bar for someone who's more introverted. You may suggest, oh, I saw this little cafe. Would you like to go with me sometime? Have a more one-on-one setting instead of a huge group outing. This helps you to connect more with a person because by understanding what they like and what they don't like, you're able to communicate better with them. Connection is important because if you are unable to understand where a person comes from, it makes it so much harder to connect with another person. It makes it harder to form those bonds, and it makes it harder to communicate. That is why it is important to understand the differences between introverts and extroverts and how their personalities can influence how we connect with each other. Knowing what is fact and fiction when it comes to understanding the differences between introverts and extroverts can only help to improve your relationship with someone who is of the more opposite personality. Understanding a person's personality type may change how you think of them, how you approach them. This helps to answer a lot of questions you may have when it comes to someone's behavior. It can also help to improve relations. That is why it's important to know the difference between an introvert and an extrovert. And who knows, maybe this could help you improve your communication.